Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic Please be seated. I would like to thank Mr. Gellinella, our acting assistant superintendent, for agreeing to allow us to move up the graduation time in an attempt to complete the ceremony tonight. However, this does mean that since both high schools are graduating at the same time, some important people are not physically here tonight. Therefore, Mr. Gellinella and some members of the Board of Education and administrative teams are not here. But it is my distinct honor to recognize some important people for their commitment to our students and the citizens of Brick, and they're standing here behind me today. I'd like to thank Mayor John Ducey. I'd like to thank Board of Ed President John Lamella. I'd like to thank Board Member Melita Gagliardi. I'd like to say a special thanks to the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Susan McNamara, and the Director of Planning and Research and Evaluation, Mr. Dennis Filippone. I would also like to thank some of our supervisors of instruction for being here tonight with us, Mr. Walter Hersenko and Mrs. Jane Van Osdal. And a special thanks to Mrs. Anne-Marie Dayton, Supervisor of Special Education for the secondary level. And a very special thanks goes out to the Brick Township High School administrative team, which I do believe is the greatest administrative team that any principal could hope to work with. I'd like to thank Mr. John Marvin, Mrs. Erin Biancella, and Ms. Dana Triantafalos, and Mr. Panuska, Peter Panuska. So this evening we recognize the accomplishments of these fine young men and women as we celebrate the achievement of high school graduation. Roughly 12 years ago, you were each placed onto a yellow bus, no doubt waving goodbye to a teary-eyed parent left back at the bus stop as an emotional wreck. As parent and the school system, we entered into a partnership intended to help prepare each of you our most precious commodity for life after graduation. In a few short minutes, we will read each of your names and pass along to you a well-earned diploma. But I would be remiss if I failed to pass along some insight on what this rite of passage means to me. To begin, I am proud and fortunate to stand before you as the principal of the greatest high school in America. An institution based on tradition and pride. The class of 2017 stands strong in collective accomplishments. Championships in wrestling, bowling, softball, and chess. Individual standout recognition in athletics. Jasir Taylor is #1 in the state of New Jersey. And he is #8 in the nation in long jump, his second sport of choice. In the arts, we have 2 individuals I'd like to recognize for their accomplishments that had statewide impact. In chorus, Coulter Yagul Rolston. Coulter will be attending the College of New Jersey, where he is now going to be a proud member of their art department, probably something you didn't think of 2 years ago. And in the area of music composition, Peter Sardina. Peter is now an award-winning composer who is outstanding at his craft and will no doubt continue that into adulthood. And I'd like to recognize someone that's with us here tonight for his accomplishments in representing the United States of America in ice hockey at the international level in Israel next week. Jake Lakeros will be the starting goalie for the United States of America. Jake, we wish you luck in representing the United States next week. I also recognize the achievements of this class for the honors, for their awards, and the military service. We have several students here today that have signed up for a career in military, and in a few short days, they are going to be in military service. Could I please ask you to please rise as we can congratulate you? Thank you, gentlemen. I recognize the collective $100,000 of academic scholarship that went to many of the fine individuals here today. And finally, I recognize the coaches, advisors, mentors, and teachers, and least but not least, the staff members who share a part in you being here today. I would like to ask if you have had an impact on one of the young people here today, would you please rise so we can thank you for everything you have done. Thank you all. Okay. I leave you all with one thought that ultimately will be forgotten to many, but may remain to some of you for quite some time. One of my favorite singers, songwriters, and poet, Bob Dylan, wrote a song titled, "When I Paint My Masterpiece." I used to spend a lot of time deciphering what that song meant. In typical Dylan fashion, it's both simplistic and complex depending on the angle in which you're looking at it. To me, it seems appropriate for this moment that we're here today. Many famous artists used to paint on canvas and then cover over and start all over again. Sometimes it was out of necessity, such as not having funds to buy fresh canvas, or because of being unsatisfied, often covering over what many would judge as masterpieces, but to the artist was just another form of expression. The act of creating is what is most important to the artist. Not so much finalizing a work of art, but growing, learning, and expressing. As each of you are an artist that has created a 12-year masterpiece, it is up to you to decide what to paint next. You have not yet created your masterpiece. You can choose another canvas and paint anew. You can start all over on the same canvas. But whatever you decide to do, I encourage you to keep painting. And more importantly, in the words of Bob, everything is going to be all right when I paint my masterpiece. You will be all right. Okay, at this time, I don't believe we're going to have a speech from Mr. Lamello, the Board of Ed President, and I don't believe Mr. Filippone is going to come up so that we can get through the speeches and the names before the weather turns. Somehow I knew that would be a round of applause. Therefore, we're going to begin with some of our young people to come up for their speeches. The first young lady I'm going to call up is an outstanding young woman who's going to go to Stockton in the area of science, I believe environmental science. I believe she finished with a 103-point-something GPA. She is our salutatorian, Sophia Piper.
Good afternoon, and though I might not be here, good afternoon to the Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Gianella, administrators, members of the Board of Education, supervisors, staff of the BTHS, parents, families, and friends, and fellow members of the class of 2017. I am humbled to speak with you today. I would like to begin by thanking my parents for their constant support of all of my endeavors and for staying up sometimes past midnight to help me perfect my work. To my teachers that pushed me to reach my potential, thank you for always reminding me that I have no limits, but rather only challenges that I can overcome. Thank you to Mrs. Walling for letting me walk into her office any day, any time, and helping me with my constant onslaught of questions. Thank you, all of you. Without you, I would not be where I am today. William Shakespeare once said, "It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves." Sometimes, when we look to the future and we don't see ourselves going anywhere or doing anything extraordinary because of our past and even our presence, we see ourselves as constants, like stars in the sky. But in this quote, I think Shakespeare is saying that we are ever-changing beings, that with the power to shape our own destinies. Nothing is set in stone for us. Wherever you are right now, whatever you do, whoever you are, is only the beginning. It is within our ability and our right to create our own destiny, our own success, and pursue our own dreams for the future. Teachers and class of 2017, in the words of Shakespeare, good night, parting is such sweet sorrow. and I shall say goodnight until tomorrow. Until we meet again, I wish all of you health, happiness, and success in all of your endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. And next I would like to call up a young man who's going to Johns Hopkins University, where he hopes to pursue a career as a doctor. He is the president of our NHS, Adam Piasecki.
Before I begin, I'd like to give a brief but sincere thank you to 4 important people in my life: Mom, Dad, Miss Scipione, and Mr. Curatola. This was not possible without you, and I'm very humbled to stand before you today. So thank you for all that you've done. One of the things that scares me most in life is looking back and regretting not doing things, regretting missed opportunities. I believe it's much more satisfying to have tried, failed, and even have faced consequences than to deal with that looming afterthought of thinking, what could have been? The what ifs hurt the most, especially once the window is past you and there's nothing you can do about it now. I would much rather live with the regret of making a mistake or failing on a risk taken than to live with the regret of not having risked at all. We all have a bucket list of some sort, the things we want to do but never seem to actually accomplish. Whether it's traveling in other countries, starting your own business, or even breaking a bad habit. We as people seem to put off action on these ambitions too often, ultimately leading to them never even happening. This is that unfulfillment that I fear so greatly, the knowing of what to do and still not getting it done. What's even scarier is how quickly these opportunities pass us by. I encourage you to tackle your ambitions with urgency, because before you know it, it's never the right time. You're too busy with college. You can't take time off your new job. You have kids now. There's never a better time than now, because way too frequently, our do-laters become our never-dones. I ask you as seniors, what better time than now? Take advantage of this summer. Do all of those things you've been putting off. See places you've never seen before. Things will never be as easy as they are for us right now. No school, no bills, very little responsibility, and yet all the freedom in the world. Live as much as you can now, because soon our lives will be harder and more complex than we can imagine. Of course, keep your future in mind, but do not let this summer pass you by and leave no what-ifs behind you. Do it now. Do it while you can. I just encourage you all to never settle, never be content. When you settle on what's acceptable, you miss out on the better. You miss out on the exceptional. Always be willing to take up life's opportunities. Even if you have to leave your comfort zone, you can't be afraid. This is where you grow. Ask out that girl that makes your palms sweat even though you've never even talked to her. Take time off work to visit all those places you thought you'd never get around to seeing. Take risks. Break out of comfortable. Life is so much more fun when you exhaust all of its opportunities. You'll be surprised to see how often the things you once viewed as unimaginable, impossible, can become your reality. Plans can change too. Sometimes the things we tried so hard for become our reality, and it's not until then we find out we want something different, that this is dull, and we want more. Don't be afraid to reroute and change your course. You can set new goals. You can redefine your ambitions. These bucket list moments, the memorable nights made in spontaneity, the embarrassing failures, and the imprudent decisions, these are the stories that we'll tell one day. These are the memories we'll keep. Isn't that what we live for? Quoted Andy Bernard of Cornell University. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. I think it's safe to say those days are upon us. There is so much that lies beyond these walls, but you can't expect these doors to open for you if you don't first reach for them. Thank you.
Okay, folks, we're gonna go off the program a little bit. We're gonna read some names, and then we're gonna come back with some speeches, another song, and some recognition. I hope you're all right with that. So at this time, I would like to call up to the podium Mr. Marvin to read the beginning of the alphabet. And ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask you to hold your applause until the entire row name has been read, we certainly would appreciate it. And to all of the students in the audience tonight, the graduating class, you're getting your diplomas inside in the gymnasium, not along the track like we talked about earlier today.
Row 1 ladies, please rise. Sophia B. Piper. Jenny Lee Mating Stocker. Joanna Kirkitska. Cassidy Victoria Bickler. Anne Marie Castoro. Kelly Ann Ashton. Jenna Esmussen. Alexis Banfield. Ashley Valerie Barnshaw. Gabriella Grace Barros. Allie Bechtel. Ariana Selena Bendinsky. Gianna Lynn Beveridge. Isabella R. Brow. Megan T. Bruca. Alyssa Bonavolanta. Emily Rose Carcio. Kathleen Leah Carpenter. Kelsey Ann Carpino. Megan Delaney Cawley. Kimberly Chavez. Lauren Clawberg. Nicolette Rose Cole. Andrea Catherine Mustachio. Row 1 ladies, please be seated. Row 1 gentlemen, please rise. Angel Pan. Adam Robert Piasecki. James Thomas Beecroft. Tehran Tarif Chapman. Eric James Pino. Coulter Joshua Yagual Ralston. Brandon Joseph Termel. Michael A. Affinino, Jr. Michael B. Alberti. Oscar Alejandro Aldana Fernandez. Nicholas Apolito. Kenneth Christopher Bala. Sebastian Barajas. Nicholas Bello. Ryan Betlow. Jake Anthony Kenneth Blaschke. Wilson Yaboa. Kevin Bonner. Douglas Bohr. John Edward Braun. Charles W. Brooks. Hunter Cole Brown. John Bruno. Noah A. Bono. Daniel Caffiero, Nicholas Castagno, Stephen Castaneda, Corey Cavaluzzi, Emra Jenziges, Timothy James Sweeney. Row 1 gentlemen, please be seated. Row 2 ladies, please rise. Lynette Custodio, Maya Danko, Gabrielle Delorto, Aurora Victoria DeCenzo, Nicole Marie DiGiovanni, Antonia Duzic, Kelly Ann Esposito, Aaron M. Faulkner, Marina G. Fazio, Michelle Marie Phelan, Jessica Fiedler, Raven Fitz, Christine Marie Frazee, Cassidy Lauren Gall, Diana Angelica Garcia, Isabel Dorothea Gillette, Simone Betty Gillette, Brooke Gibbs, Nicole Elizabeth Gorman, Samantha Lynn Gorman, Victoria Adriana Gray, Stephanie Amelia Greigel, Daviana Idalise Hale, Claire E. Haviland, Isabel V. Herman. Row 2 ladies, please be seated. Row 2 gentlemen, please rise. Hector Serzo Serrano, John Allen Chelston Jr., James Clayton, Gavin D. Cole, Cameron L. Connor, Anthony Costanza, Jorge D. Quate, Chase Hunter Camella, Jack DiLucio, Fong Dang, William S. Davis, Anthony DeStefano, Joseph Vincent DeStefano, Jacob Dickinson, Jacob M. Durkis, Kobe Nathan Dunn, Brandon T. Dvorak, Alan Edgerton, Hunter Emmett, Jack Joseph Finelli, Joel Forez Saldana, Ramid S. Fry, Nicholas J. Funaro, Jason Mark Gibbous, Zachary T. Glick, Alan Gomez, Jonathan Gomez, Adolfo Gonzalez, Robert J. Green, Nicholas M. Hanula. Row 2 gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, I'd like to call out Mrs. Triantafalos to announce the next 2 rows.
Row 3 ladies, please rise. Morgan Sophie Hickman. Jennifer M. Higgins. Simone Jones. Carly Jova. Gabriella Adriana Canabracchi. Christina Casera. Emily Nicole Kirk. Shauna Quinn Lanny. Angelina Doria Lantieri. Taylor Elizabeth Legate. Ava Lishko. Katerina Sarah Lynch. Lillian Rose McMillan. Johanna E. Maldonado. Amber Destiny Vance Martinez. Victoria C. Martins. Megan Elizabeth McDermott. Summer Ann McKendrick. Catherine Ashley McKenna. Emily Ann Malillo. Julia Rita Miranda. Michaela Nicole Miller. Rebecca Montoya. Angelina Rose Iannarone. Row 3 ladies, please be seated. Row 3 gentlemen, please rise. Terrence J. Harvey. Dean Carl Haustowski. Alexander Nicholas Hertling. Thomas Joseph Higgins Jr. Mickey J. Holland. Gerard David Hutchison Jr. Kyle B. Jaggers. David M. Jamnick. Tyler George Janarone. Andrew Joseph Jones. Christopher Giuliano. Nicholas A. Kafarski. Matthew Thomas Carl. Ryan Christopher Kenworthy. Tyler Brian Keisler. Brian Anthony Cool. Hunter Joseph Capper. Ryan Labasor. Jacob M. Lacados. Matthew Ryan Lepis. Andrew Thomas Lindebaum. Nicholas M. Lafredo. Zachary T. Laurie. Joseph Lopez. Sean Michael Lutz. George Anthony Malgiri. Jordan Malitza. JT Maloney. Nicholas S. Marino. Nick T. Mara. Row 3 gentlemen, please be seated. Row 4 ladies, please rise. Rosalinda Morales Vargas, Selena Musame, Molly Ann Newby, Amanda Noel, Kelly Ann Obsit, April Ruth Ocasio, Kayla Renee Olden, Erica L. O'Rourke, Luz Ortega, Angelica Ortiz Rios, Casey A. Palmer, Madison R. Perez, Peyton Jack Poland, Claudia Porevsky, Kayla Hope Pressy, Michaela A. Provenzano, Jessica Paige Ricera, Valerie A. Rippin, Aaron Ritchie, Gabriela M. Rojas, Barbara Mari Romero, Marissa Lee Rosamilia, Victoria Argentina Rosini, Taylor Nicole Rother, Katie Sams. Row 4 ladies, please be seated. Row 4 gentlemen, please stand. Sean Anthony Martin, Patrick John McAlinden, Rashawn Amar McCall, Christopher Mendez, Sean M. Menjivar, Tristan David Metro, Tristan C. Michelson, Thomas R. Miller III, Michael James Mooney, Elijah Z. Morton, Chris A. Modis, Corey J. Modis, Zachary Thomas Murphy, Kyle Ray Nalawicki, Joseph Napolitano, Joshua H. Wynn, Edward Nixon Nicholas, Nicholas J. Navrat, Jordan M. Novak, James Anthony Obenauer, Carlos Ortiz, Tyler J. Palmer, Connor Frank Party, Mitchell R. Payton, Andrew C. Peters, Paul B. Feister, Hugh Min Pham, Zachary A. Phillips, Liam Orion Poland, Jesse Lee Posey, Row 4 gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, I would like to call Mrs. Biancella to the podium.
Ladies in row 5, please rise. Samantha Santinello, Nicole Scardilli, Heather Scherer, Madison Schleifer, Morgan Jane Elizabeth Scott. April C. Sharkey. Chloe Rose Sherry. Emily Lynn Silber. Jessica J. Solon. Samara Souza. Laura Michelle Spiak. Kylie Ann Spinello. Kalisha L. Stevens. Olivia R. Stragapiti. Tabitha Blue Suarez. Sarah Michelle Thompson. Andrea Torres. Nicole Teresa Troyer. Kimberly Valdeos. Hennessy Alexandria Villaseca. Gabriella Grace Volinsky. Kayla Vrabel. Riley Catherine Warnock. Victoria Marie Wetmore. Serena Lynn Rittenauer. Ladies in row 5, please be seated. Gentlemen in row 5, please rise. Justin Post. Zion Powell. John Dante Prado. William Patrick Privet. Christian Andrew Ramos. Aaron J. Ramundo. Liam J. Ray. Edward Reed. Gary Renner. Ryan Lee Anastasia. Kyle Riccardi. Leo Roberts. Jelani A. Robinson. Mark Rodriguez. Austin Rogers. Christopher Thomas Romero. Ryan Scott Rosenfeld. Tyler D. Roshala. Christopher Ruzchick. John Ryan. Anthony Sacramento. Orlando Sanchez. David J. Santiago. Peter E. Sardina. Andrew Z. Seymour. Nicholas Theodore Sequeira. Johnny Serrano Alejo. Andrew Sereno Jr. Patrick Short. Fabio A. Silva. Gentlemen in row 5, please be seated. Ladies in row 6, please rise. Teresa Louise Williams. Christina Rose Wood. Maylin Zhu. Alstea Shimetite. Ladies in row 6, please be seated. Gentlemen in row 6, please rise. Michael Ryan Soldo. Joseph George Sorrentino. Robert C. Spinello. Matthew Patrick Stadelberger. Mark Kenneth Streiter. Alanis Shuminskis. Jasir Taylor. Jaden Scott Tissiker. Parker L. Townsend. Michael Joseph Troncone. Kendall Alexander Addison Tynes. Matthew Thomas Ubel. Matthew Joseph Velez. Ricardo Antonia Verdura. Ethan John Voorhees. Robert Wallach. Brandon Michael Williams. Mickey Jeremy Winters. Nicholas J. Wotasic. Joseph Robert Woods. Justin J. Wright. Edward Zarzinski. Johnny Zarowski. Gentlemen in row 6, please be seated. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Biancella. Okay, a couple more speeches from some well-deserved students here in the audience tonight. The next person I'm going to call up is our valedictorian. He has a grade point average of over 104. He will be attending Stanford University for computer science. I don't think Angel knows exactly what he's going to do when he gets to college, but I know we are in good hands knowing he's going to be at Stanford. Angel has attempted 12 different AP classes at Brick Township High School, and with all of that, he has well over a 104 grade point average. He's going to come up here tonight for a couple of words as our valedictorian. Angel, come on up.
Good evening, honored guests, administration, teachers, family, friends, and of course, the class of 2017. It is my honor to be here before you today to deliver this mediocre speech about life and stuff. But before I do that, let me first thank all of our amazing teachers, our diligent guidance counselor, and our dedicated staff members for being there for us whenever we needed them. Well, sometimes they were there, but hey, who likes technicalities? I would also like to take this time to thank our parents and families. Even though we do not always agree with everything they say, they did have to put up with us for all these years. So they deserve recognition for all the love, time, and dedication that they put into us. Next, I would like to thank the hardworking custodians, lunch ladies, bus drivers, and everyone else who receives way too little recognition for the work that they do. Last but not least, I would like to thank y'all for being an outstanding class. Alright, let's see. Alright, cool. Now for the important stuff. We're finally here. After 4 long, grueling years at Brick Township High School, we made it. I'm sure we can all agree that our time at BTHS was not all rainbows and unicorns. But through thick and thin, we managed to survive and even made some great friends along the way. I was going to write a cliche speech about the journey and how difficult it was, and the adversities we faced along the way, and the friends we made in the process. However, Miss Walling, my wonderful guidance counselor, kindly asked that I say something inspirational and change all of your lives forever. No pressure or anything. Alright, so here goes. J.M. Barrie once said, "We are all failures. At least the best of us are." Wise words. So you might be wondering, who is J.M. Barrie? And if you ask me, I don't really know either. But what I do know is that his words are very true. All of us here, we're all failures, every one of us. Those of us who are scholars, those of us who are scholars, those of us who are athletes, dancers, musicians, those of us who don't even know who or what we are, we're failures. While everyone here may seem different, there are two things that you can say you know about the person next to you. The first is that they're graduating today, part of the class of 2017. The second, that they are a failure. Now you might say, wow, Angel, thanks for that. I really appreciate your optimism. That really made my day so much brighter. But hold on, there's truth in what I'm saying. Even though growing up, we're taught to look down on failure, it shouldn't be that way. Everyone fails, even the most successful people. To be human is to be flawed, and to be flawed is to fail. Take a look at Michael Jordan, for example. Despite being arguably known as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, he was a failure. He has missed over 9,000 shots in his career and lost over 300 games. Let's take a look at Thomas Edison, for example. Despite inventing so many useful things that we take for granted today, he is a failure. Or as he likes to put it, I didn't fail, I just found 10,000 ways that don't work. And even though I'm not great by any standard, I am also a failure. Let me tell you a short story about one of the many times that I failed. So, some time ago, we were going on a class trip to the United Nations building. Here we are, supposedly the best and brightest of our school, the National Honor Society. Here I am, supposedly the valedictorian of our class. And so, the tour guide, they ask us a simple question. Can any of you guess what the first nation in alphabetical order is that's part of the United Nations? Just name any country you can think of that starts with the letter A. And you know what I said? Alaska. Because obviously, Alaska is a country that starts with the letter A, right? Apparently not. Apparently Alaska is actually a state. Whoops. So, long story short, the moral is that if you ever find yourself in the UN and they ask you what the first country is, it's actually Afghanistan. In the end, we're all failures. However, it's important to note that because everyone fails, it's not the failure that defines us. It's the resilience to continue to persevere after each of the many failures that we will encounter in our lives that defines us. So I challenge all of you to step up to the challenge. Step up, Kyle. Step up. I challenge you to rise above mediocrity, to realize your aspirations. John Green once said, What is the point of being alive if you don't at least try to do something remarkable? No one wants to live a boring life, and y'all are capable of becoming great, so why not? No matter if you want to be a teacher or an astronaut, an artist or engineer, an athlete, or even a garbage man. Do what you enjoy and do it well. Don't let failure stop you. Elon Musk once said, "If something is important enough to you, you do it, even if the odds are not in your favor." Find something meaningful and pursue it. For some people, that might be trying to find a way to end global climate change. For others, that may be for providing food for their family or even defending our country. I challenge you to reach for your dreams, to fail, to pick yourselves up, and then reach some more. I'm going to end with a short excerpt from a poem I read by Donovan Livingston. It goes something like this. I belong among the stars, and so do you, and so do they. Together, we can inspire galaxies of greatness for generations to come. No, sky is not the limit. It is only the beginning. Lift off. Thank you, class of 2017, and good luck in all your future endeavors.